Hello, my name is Taylor Ross. I'm an Aximmetry ambassador and the owner of Frustum Virtual in Los Angeles, California. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to record your camera tracking data in Aximmetry DE Composer, and then how to play that camera tracking data back using Aximmetry DE Composer. So the first thing we need to do is open our Aximmetry project. This is a custom project that we set up in a separate tutorial. If you need help setting up your tracked camera compound, you can watch our other tutorials. In those tutorials, we cover all of the input setup and studio calibration, so be sure to watch those videos first. At the top of Aximmetry DE Composer, we have Flow, Cameras, and Inputs. If I select the Cameras tab, you'll see that I have Camera 1 selected. Now we can navigate to our Inputs tab. In this tutorial, we will be covering everything that you need to know about the record and playback nodes. We will be using input 1 for this tutorial. All of our inputs have been set up and our studio has been calibrated. I will select the record node. This will open all of the record node settings on the right-hand side. I will be recording input 1, so I have that turned on. You have the ability to record any of the inputs in your Inputs tab. Depending on which input you plan to record, you will want to turn that input on. You can also record all of the inputs at once. For this tutorial, I will only be recording input 1. Now I will reselect the record node to go over all of the settings. Below our inputs, we have tracking only. Tracking only will allow you to only record the tracking data. For this tutorial, I will be recording the camera tracking data as well as the raw camera feed. By doing it this way, I have the ability to re-record any of my takes using only Aximmetry DE Composer. If you decide to use the tracking only function, you can record the high quality video directly in camera. If you plan on doing it this way, you will need to make sure that your timecode is synced between Aximmetry and your physical camera. I will go over the timecode settings in a moment, but first I want to cover the rest of the settings in this record node. Below tracking only, we have output folder. This is where you can specify the destination of the recorded data. Select these three dots on the right hand side next to output folder. Now you can specify the folder that you'd like to record to. I've already set up my output to record to an external hard drive, so I'll just select cancel. Below output folder, we have output file. This is where you can create a unique name for your recording. I will leave my naming convention set to the default raw. Below output file, we have output suffix 1, 2, and 3. This will help you differentiate which camera you've recorded. You have the ability to create unique camera names. For this tutorial, I'll just leave these set to default. Below camera suffix, you have video format. Use this dropdown to select the format that you'd like to record. For this tutorial, I'll be recording DNxHD as an MOV file. Next, we have video megabytes per second. This is the bitrate that the video will be recorded at. I have my bitrate set to 500. When you select record, this setting may change. Aximmetry will auto-select the most compatible bitrate for your recording. Next, we have keyframe distance. This is the distance between each keyframe in your recorded data. Finally, we have all of our audio settings. We have audio format, audio channels, and audio kilobytes per second. We can adjust any of these settings using the dropdowns on the right-hand side. If we would like to monitor any of the incoming audio, we need to turn on the speaker in this audio node. This will allow us to hear the audio coming into our system. Back in the record settings, I will use these drop-downs to quickly show you all of the audio formats that are available, the audio channels that are available, and the audio kilobytes per second that are available. Finally, the last setting is use input timecode. This will use the timecode from our physical camera. If I select input 1, it will open the settings for input 1 on the right-hand side. Now look for timecode master. With the timecode master setting turned on, our recording will use the physical camera's timecode. Now I will quickly show you how you can view your incoming timecode in Aximmetry DE. Navigate to the Flow tab at the top. In our Flow tab, we'll right-click in the gray area and then select Insert Module. Search for System Param, select it, and then select OK. On the System Params node that's been added, you will see this master timecode pin. I will show you how you can use this master timecode as an overlay in the upper left-hand corner of our Preview 1. Back in our compound, we will right-click, select Insert Module, search for timecode to text, select it, and then select OK. Now click and drag from our master timecode to timecode. Right-click in our compound, select Insert Module, and then search for Text Peaker. Select Text Peaker, and then select OK. Now click and drag from the out pin to the value. Right-click again in our compound, select Insert Module. Now search for Blender, select Blender, and then select OK. Click and drag from the out pin to foreground. Now on our tracked cam Unreal 3 cam, we'll click and drag from preview to background, and then from our Blender on the out pin to preview. Now in the upper left-hand corner, we have a timecode overlaid on our Preview 1. I'll select the Text Peaker module and then change the out size to 500 by 400. This will just reduce the size of our timecode and place it a little bit further up in the upper left-hand corner of our preview 1. Now I will navigate back to my Inputs tab, select Input 1, find Timecode Master in the settings and turn it off. You will see that the timecode in the upper left-hand corner of our preview 1 has now changed to the timecode that Aximmetry generates. This timecode is just the uptime of Aximmetry, so however long Aximmetry has been running. If I turn the timecode master back on, you will see that the timecode has now changed to match the timecode of our physical camera. Having this timecode overlay is extremely useful in a physical production environment. This allows me to quickly reference what my timecode is running at. Using the master timecode from your physical camera will allow you to quickly sync the raw camera footage with the Aximmetry composite. There are a lot of benefits to using this timecode, so I will make sure that this is turned on. Now that I've explained the master timecode, I will go back to my record node. Once you're happy with all of the record settings that you've set up, you can navigate back to the record node and select this red circle to start recording. In the upper left-hand corner, once you select record, you will see record and then a time. This is how you will know that you are actually recording the camera tracking data. I will do some quick handheld camera movement so that we have some data to showcase once we go to the playback function. Now back in Aximmetry, I will just select this white stop button to stop recording. Now I will select the playback node. In the settings on the right-hand side, you will see that Input 1 is auto-populated with the take that we just recorded. If you recorded multiple takes, you can select which take you'd like to play back by selecting these 3 dots. All of the takes will be recorded to the folder that you set up earlier. Select the take that you'd like to play back and then select Open. In order to enter playback mode, we need to select this white play button. With playback enabled, you will see a green play in the upper left-hand corner of your Preview 1 monitor. Navigate back to the Flow tab, right-click in the gray area, select Insert Module. Now search for Sequencer. Select Sequencer and then select OK. Click and drag from this Tracks pin to Playback Sequence 1. Double-click on the Sequencer module to open the sequence. Hold Control on your keyboard, click and hold your middle mouse button and drag to the left to zoom out of the sequence. Let go of the Control button on your keyboard and then use the middle mouse button to readjust the position of the sequence. In order to extend your sequence, hover your mouse over the end of the sequence. Once the arrow appears, you can right-click and drag to extend or shorten your sequence. Navigate back to our Inputs tab and make sure that this white play button is enabled. Now back in the sequencer, we can select Play in the lower left-hand corner. This will start the playback of the sequence that we just recorded. Recording our tracking data with our raw camera file is extremely useful. We can use this data in any Unreal project. For instance, if we are working with a client that wants to change the Unreal project that we are recording in, or if we've recorded the perfect take and we don't like the position that we're in the scene, we can always go to our inputs and adjust the scene position. This will allow you to use the same take in multiple positions in your Unreal scene, or to change the scene completely. I'll navigate back to my sequencer and open it. We can also click and drag our playhead to any position in the sequence. I highly recommend that you always record your camera tracking data. Recording your camera tracking data with your raw camera feed will make sure that you're covered in any situation moving forward in the post-production process. I would also say that in most physical production situations, the client will be asking for this tracked camera recording. I will navigate back to my Inputs tab and turn off the playback function, and then I will record one more take. Now I will quickly show you how you can switch between the takes that you've recorded. I'll move my camera around a little bit just to get some data. Now I'll go ahead and stop this recording using the white stop button. Now with the playback node selected, I can select the 3 dots next to Input 1. I now have 2 takes in this folder. I can select whatever take I'd like, select Open, select the white play button to go into playback mode, navigate back to my sequencer, adjust the playhead to any position in the sequence, and then I can just select Play, and it will immediately start playing in any position that you'd like to play in your sequence. The last thing that I will cover in this tutorial is that if you make any adjustments to your scene, you will also need to make those adjustments to your billboard. I talk about this in previous tutorials, but you just need to make sure that wherever you're moving in your scene, you're also placing the billboard at the proper position. You may run into issues if you're moving around in your scene and you haven't updated the position of your billboard, so just keep that in mind. Once you're happy with the placement of your billboard and your scene, you can re-record any take in any position in any Unreal scene. This is extremely useful, and it is definitely something that you should implement in your production workflow. I've had clients make changes to the Unreal scene after we finish production, making it so that nothing is completely finalized on the day of production. With everything that we've covered in this tutorial, you should have a really good understanding of how the record, playback, and audio functions work in your tracked cam or mixed cam compound. The last thing that I will do is make sure that I save my Aximmetry compound. Then I can just close Aximmetry. Hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how to record your tracking and raw camera data using Aximmetry DE. I also showed you how to use that camera tracking data once it's recorded. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching.